Bottom of the second set to start from Shirley Povich Field, and we have a very, very special guest in the booth with us. Please welcome from Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN, the one, the only Tim Kurkjian. Tim, you are from Bethesda, Maryland. You started working at ESPN in 1998, and in 1999, a team was founded in your hometown. What does that mean to you?
Well, this is like the coolest thing for me because I grew up at this field as a kid. When I was really young, a little leaguer, I played on the Little League fields here, and at night I would come watch the Industrial League players play on this field. I learned how to play baseball in this ballpark right here. And then when I got old enough, I moved up to the big field. I umpired games on this place, so this was my second home as a kid. And to see that there is a field here named after a sports writer and named after the high school that I went to, nothing's better than that.
While we were talking, Logan Panette, first pitch swinging, lines one through into left field for a base hit. He's a guy that started the year off incredibly hot, 3 home runs in the first 4 games, but has slowed down as of late. But in the last couple of games has been picking it up. Timmy's been doing a lot of first pitch swinging, attacking early in counts.
Well, I just love watching these kids play. And the people at home and the people listening need to understand that these guys are better than 99% of the people who've ever tried to play this diabolically difficult game. When you're good enough to play at a major college like all these kids are, that is really, really impressive. And some of these kids are going to play in the big leagues because, you know, I just talked to Hunter Brown the other day, and his days at the big train were like some of the best days of his life. Hunter Renfroe, same thing. And all these big leaguers, all 25 of them, I probably met every one of them who's played for the big train along the way. It's just so cool to know that, you know, we're going to be watching these kids at age 19, 18, 20, and someday they're going to play. Some of them are going to play in the big leagues. It's really, really cool.
Well, today they were giving out team baseball cards of all the players on the big train. Might be a good time to pick some of those up if you're a card collector. 2-2 the count on Peyton Steele, coming out of the University of Alabama. Made the All-Star team, hitting .278 on the year with 21 RBIs. Only person ahead of him in the league for RBIs is the guy on first, Logan Panette, with 27. He dives back in after a pickoff attempt from Vincent Luther. Luther set, looks at Panette at first, now comes to Steele, popped up high in the air into deep right. Ranging back is Groen, but this ball will get out of play and into the Southern Maryland bullpen. Now, Tim, I know that you're from here, and I know that you love coming here. Is there a favorite moment that you have from since the big train have been founded or in your time coming here?
Well, every year is special because I get to talk to the players and I get to see the look on the faces of the players who have the exact same look, every one of them. I want to play professionally. I want to play in the big leagues.
Steele on a line into the corner. Panette's off to the races. He will stop at third. Steele into second with a no-out double in the big train in business in the bottom of the second with 2 in scoring position and nobody out.
Yeah, again, the look on their face is just unmistakable because I remember this when we were this age, like how much we all wanted to move up in this game, as difficult as it was. So that's always my favorite part. And when I go somewhere and there's a player, you know, who's, you know, Josh Altman or somebody like that who played here, and then I get to talk to him about how special it was, those are the kind of moments that really matter to me when guys say, yeah, you came and spoke to us one night, and I remember what you said. That's pretty cool.
Martinez over to third. This ball's again down the line. 1 runner's in. Steele will be waved around. He will also score. Martinez into second. He will stop there with a double. The big trade up 2-0. And for a guy like John Martinez, who has been struggling a lot as of late, that's a big hit to get out of a slump for him. This is the first game he has played since he got ejected his last time out against the DC Grays. Had to serve a 1-game suspension, and Tim, his first at-bat back, an RBI double down the line.
Wow, that's so wonderful. Boy, you are really up on things. I'm very impressed. Plus, all the stuff you got in front of you, pitch speed, everything else, didn't have that when I was growing up, that's for sure.
There's a lot of people here that really do a great job that help me out with my broadcasts. First pitch to Parker Corbin as a front hip slider over the plate for a strike. Most notably, the pitch speeds. Our director of analytics, Addiston Gordon, does a great job setting everything up and maintaining everything, because nowadays analytics are such a big part of the game. All these pitchers, they want to know how fast they're throwing. They want to know their spin rates because everything has gotten so advanced in the pitching department. Corbin takes down and away, and the ball gets to the backstop. Martinez will move up to third. But the Big Train are a team that does like to play old school as well, Tim. They do a lot of bunting, a lot of small ball. They can manufacture a run when they need to.
Well, no surprise with Sal as the manager. He is an old school guy, even though he's only 52 years old. He loves the way the game is supposed to be played.
1-1 on a ground to first, fielded by Kraus. His only play is to go to first. Martinez has to hold at third.
And if I may, we just don't play enough small ball in the big leagues these days. The guys are encouraged, that's demanded, that they swing as hard as they can and try to hit it as far as they can. As a pitcher, they, encourage, their demand is to throw as hard as they can on every pitch and then spin a curveball as fast as they can. And sometimes the game really comes down to, can you get a bunt down? Can you hit the cutoff man? Do you run the bases properly?
First pitch to Dylan Murphy, a backdoor slider for strike one. And I do agree that small ball is sort of a lost art in baseball. Sometimes you see teams, of course, now in Major League Baseball, extra inning starts with a runner on second. Not a lot of teams are trying to bunt that guy over to third anymore.
Yeah, and in part because we no longer value the bunt, and then with the ball being put in play so seldom these days that if you do bunt a guy over and the next guy strikes out, you've then lost 2 outs and you got a runner at third with 2 outs. But I'm a big believer, get him over, get him in, and that's pretty hard to do these days.
0-2, Murphy chops one to short. The only play for Flores is at first. Martinez crosses, and the Big Train have put up 3 runs in the second. And another analytical thing that's been more of a trend lately is you see infields playing in a lot. With 1 out, every single member of the Southern Maryland infield playing on the cut of the grass, trying to cut down Martinez at third. But that ball from Murphy, a really high chopper, only play for Flores at first.
And that's happening in the big leagues, too. They just, with such weak contact, because we have such dominant pitching, bring your infield in and don't let them score a cheap run.
Well, speaking of the bunt, Alex Peltier shows but pulls it back. Pitch outside for ball 1. Peltier and Brennan Wright, the top 2 in this order, really love to bunt. Even with nobody on, they'll try to lay a bunt down the third base line and beat out a throw to first. Brett Ott also a very big bunter. He's not in the starting lineup today. Peltier takes a fastball at the knees for a strike.
Back when I used to watch the games here in the summer as a 7-year-old, they would play the Industrial League in this ballpark, and it was breathtaking to watch.
Luther just outside to Peltier. He's ahead in the count 2-1.
And the Industrial League was a bunch of former college players, current college players, former pro players, big league players played here. That's where I really, really learned how to play the game, watching the older guys play in this ballpark.
Swing and a miss. Peltier goes fishing on a slider below the zone. But there's so many more baseball teams now in every single level. Seems like almost every town in America has a collegiate summer team or an independent team or a minor league team, to where you don't necessarily have to follow an MLB team. A lot of people have a team right in their backyard.
Well, the more the merrier. The more you play, the better you get. It's a hard game to play.
2-2. Peltier lines one just foul down the third base line. Of course, the team closest to me back home in Northwest Indiana, the Gary Railcats.
Right.
They're in an MLB affiliate league. They're in the American Association.
Right. Well, things have changed so much with minor league baseball and collegiate summer leagues and everything else. But baseball is baseball, played at any level. It's great.
2-2. Peltier takes a curveball just outside. And, Tim, the Big Train have done a great job of scoring runs with 2 outs this season. Of course, they already have 3 home in the inning, but it almost feels like no inning is ever over with this team.
Well, 2-out hits are a great thing to have for any team.
Payoff pitch, and Peltier takes low. And it's at-bats like that, just nobody on 2 outs, grinding out a walk to just keep the inning going, because eventually the big hit will come. Brennan Wright now steps in, and he is currently in the midst of a 25-game on-base streak, Tim. Every single game that he's played, he's reached on base. He has some of the most superb on-base skills I think I've ever seen at any level.
Well, that is so valued on the major league level. You got to be able to get on base. You got to be able to draw a walk. You can't get yourself out. Plate discipline is so important in the big leagues these days, especially with the dominant pitching we've seen. If you're just up there hacking at anything, you're not going to make it in today's day and age because the pitching is just too good. You swing it at ball one and you're already behind the count against Paul Skeens. Good luck.
1-0, Wright takes outside. That, as well as situational hitting, knowing when to take your hacks and knowing when to choke up and poke a base hit through somewhere. And with Luther starting to lose control a little bit, he'll have a talk with Jack Gagan, his catcher. Gagan making his first start on the year today. Tim, if you're the catcher here making your first start, what are you telling to the pitcher in this spot?
You got to tell him just to settle down, you know. This kid's been pitching his whole life, I'm sure, but when you haven't pitched all year, you're going to get a little bit amped up about things. You're going to start to overthrow, and he's just out there to tell him to calm down. You know how to do this. You've been doing this for years. Just settle down, calm down, throw strikes.
Peltier at first has a lot of speed, 18 stolen bases. Luther comes to the plate just outside to Brennan Wright. The count is 3-0.
And that's at least 6 balls in a row. And it happens when you struggle. It's a hard game to play. When you get in a bad spite on the pitching mound, you have trouble throwing it over.
Wright takes a 3-0 pitch at the knees, 4-1. He's 1 ball away from making the on-base streak 26. He'll see another pitch from Vincent Luther. Lined up the middle. Diving stop by Flores, but it just squeaks out of his mitt and into center field. Peltier will stay at second, and there it is, 26 straight games with a on base for Brennan Wright.
The major league record, by the way, is 85 consecutive games by Ted Williams.
That is something you would know, well, that I wouldn't know.
Just absorb that for a second. 85 straight games, Ted Williams reached base safely. That's impossible to believe, but it's true.
Well, infamously, Joe DiMaggio has the longest hitting streak at 56 games.
All right, and as long as I live, we're never going to see anybody hitting 56 straight games again.
Here is Skoronski. He lines one down the line and right, but this ball lands just foul. Yeah, averages across the major leagues have gone down considerably with the improvement of pitching. You got guys rearing back and throwing 102 on any given night.
Yeah, the Brewers played a game the other night starting Jacob Mizorowski, and the average fastball velocity in that game by all the Brewers pitchers combined was 99.1 miles an hour. That's ridiculous. Not just Mizorowski, it was the relievers also.
A 1 from Luther, down and away to Skoronski. As a Cubs fan myself, I'm not too excited about having those two young flamethrowers in the same division.
Well, the Cubs could do something about it because that team can really hit. Now, it's hard to hit in the big leagues these days, but the Cubs are one of the few teams that scores runs pretty handily here and there.
Getting back to the high velocity from pitchers, I remember Johan Duran threw a 100-mile-an-hour splitter, and it was the first ever off-speed pitch recorded at triple digits. Really says a lot. 1-2, Skoronski high in the air, deep into right. Ranging back is Groen. This ball lands just out of play into the Senators' bullpen again.
Yeah, I saw Johan Duran pitch one night in Houston a couple of years ago, and it was frightening how hard he was throwing. And Jeff Blum, who's a broadcaster for the Astros, who was a good major league hitter in his time, he looked at me after the game and he said, "I'm so glad I'm retired because I don't have to face that." That's what happens when you throw an off-speed pitch over 100 miles an hour.
1-2 from Vincent Luther. Skoronski rung up at a pitch at the knees for strike 3, but the big train pushed across 3 runs on 4 hits. Tim, thank you so much. It has been an absolute pleasure.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, and keep up the great work. You're really good at this.
Thank you. I appreciate that.